Hi friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. I like to do tarot and oracle card readings, and I'll also implement some astrology as well. This is the full moon in Aries video. So if this is your first time, what we normally do is I'll go over some notes at the beginning, kind of just like talk spiritually, talk freely, and then we'll go into a collective reading about what we should all be looking out for during the full moon, maybe even some things you can add to your ritual. So that's what we're gonna do today, and I'll just go ahead and get into it. As you can tell, I'm dressed super casually. I'm wearing my Texas shirt because today I just felt like chilling. But I really wanted to record the video so I could get it out as soon as possible. So I didn't really have as much time to kind of like, you know, not like I super dress up, but just kind of like care a little bit more about like how things look on the outside type of thing. It's just more of like, I just need to get the information out there for you guys for the full moon in Aries. It's going to be an emotionally reactive time. I'll talk about it a little bit more in the notes, but just to let you know, if you start feeling things during the week that are super emotional, then that's what this is about. I don't have it written today, but probably, sometime this week I will write the blog post, which will have journal prompts. If it's your first time with me, I do journal prompts for these things, and you'll be able to go in and use it as part of your ritual if you enjoy using writing as part of your rituals. So that will be available for you. I would definitely check on the day of the full moon because it'll for sure be up there, but I don't have an official like time frame. I'm also starting a new job right now, so the amount of free time I have outside of work is going to kind of be up in the air, so we're just going to kind of see what happens. But I'll definitely get the blog post up by the time that it's the actual full moon. Okay, I don't have too many notes here, but I have that the full moon will be on October 1st. There's actually going to be 2 full moons this month, so there's going to be, you know, once in a blue moon. There's going to be a blue moon this month. The first moon is considered like the harvest moon. It normally happens in September, but it's happening at the beginning of October. I don't know too much about it, but that is something, if you want to look more into it, maybe look into it and see what that's all about. But the full moon at the end of the month is going to be in Taurus, and that will be our blue moon. A reminder right now as well is that Mars and Chiron are both in Aries right now as well. Mars is also in retrograde, right? So these planets working together all in Aries is going to be impulsiveness, fighting, conflict, competition as well. And with Mars being in retrograde, it kind of gives us the opportunity to like look through that stuff and be reflective about what's going on. And then Chiron is more of like the wounded healer type placement. So with Chiron being in Aries, it is kind of like, and honestly, all these things combined, a lot of childhood wounds are going to be coming up. They've been coming up all year, basically, you know, for months now. You've been dealing with inner child wounds and you've been working through that stuff, probably having arguments with your family, probably going through generational trauma, trying to forgive the cycles that are beyond you, you know? It's like your parents treated you a certain way because their parents treated them a certain way, and so on. You know, a lot of us don't even know what our grandparents suffered, especially our grandparents. Like, a lot of us don't even know what our great-grandparents went through. So it ends up becoming, yeah, this generational cycle of like passing abuse on because we don't know that that's what we're doing, you know? This mass awakening we're having as a society is giving a lot of people the opportunity to actually look at it and be like, oh my gosh, instead of being unconscious. Because we know that our parents put the trauma onto us unconsciously. So it's our job to be conscious about the way that we treat the next generations that are coming. Something I wrote here is meditation will be extremely important because we're going to be feeling impulsive, right? So we're going to want to react emotionally. We're going to want to yell at people, create conflict, you know, hit people up and be like, hey, you said this like 7 years ago. What did you mean by that? You know, like a lot of that stuff's going to be coming up. And it's just kind of a reminder that whenever your ego becomes activated during this time and you feel yourself starting to get upset and you want to like prove something to somebody, remind yourself just like a little meditation for yourself and do a little bit of like, you know, I am safe. I am loved. Even if you don't feel loved by others, I'm loved by myself, right? I'm loved by the universe. I'm loved by spirit. So I am loved. I am safe. I cannot control the external, but I can control the internal, right? I cannot control my emotions, but I can control my actions. And try to work on responding instead of reacting. And if you're in a highly toxic environment where people want you to react, so they're going to be like pushing your buttons because they want you to react, that's going to be where it's even more important to meditate, ground yourself, and they might even mock you while you're doing it, you know, depending on how toxic this person is. And it's really going to be up to you for your personal safety and personal mental health to continue to gray rock these people, continue to remind yourself that you are safe. They don't have control over you. They're trying to prove they have control over you by making you react. And whenever it doesn't work, sometimes they'll get even more, like they'll want you to react even more, so they'll push you more, but eventually they do give up because they realize that it's not going to happen. The longer you've been in this abusive situation though, that's where it's a lot harder to draw that line. Just for some of you guys that are in that situation, it's a lot harder if it's been ongoing abuse for years, because they do know all of your triggers. They've learned all of your triggers. In fact, if you're dealing with a parent, they created those triggers for you, right? So whenever you start to like gray rock them and not really react, if you don't know gray rocking, look it up. It's really helpful. But if you continue to just give them nothing, then at first they might push all of your buttons. And then whenever you continue to not react from then on out, they kind of might act betrayed or hurt, or like what's going on. Like they might try to ask you directly. It's up to you if you want to share with them or not, but if you don't feel safe sharing something with them, just say that nothing is wrong. You're just focusing on yourself or whatever it is you need to say, and that's all they need to know. I just felt compelled to say that because I feel like some of you guys might be living in that type of situation, and I lived in it for a while, so you're not, you know, alone. There's plenty of people that do live in toxic situations. Narcissists are everywhere. Class B personality people are everywhere. So it is really important for you to take care of your mental health first and don't even worry about what they think about you, because what they think about you is conditional. You are either blessed by God or you are a piece of crap. Okay, and there's like no in between with toxic people. So try not to focus at all on what they think about you, because what they think about you is not true. It's just based on their emotional state. It's all based on them. So try to keep that center, keep like hold of yourself, and make sure that you are validating yourself and what you're feeling and seeing and hearing and all those things. If you're living in a toxic or an abusive environment, recognize what it is that you're seeing. If you're not in a safe place where you can confront the person for it, then just acknowledge to yourself what's happening. Like acknowledge to yourself, like, okay, they're gaslighting me right now, but I'm not going to call them out because I don't feel safe to do that, but I know what's going on. You know, like kind of like that stuff. So I just felt compelled for some of you guys to talk about that. And we also have here that a fiery climax approaches. I wrote the note here, don't be a baby. And this is also kind of like, try not to burn bridges and try to always speak from a place of love. So even when you're drawing boundaries with people, or even if maybe you are confronting somebody about how they've been treating you, make sure that you're always speaking from a place of love, because you're more likely to get a better result. If you talk to somebody like, hey, you did this to me and that's messed up, apologize, you're going to activate their ego. And maybe they're not on the same spiritual path as you, so maybe they have no idea what an ego even is, you know? And so you're going to put them in a position where they will fail. So if you want to have a conversation with somebody that is, you know, productive and growing and all those things, you have to speak from love. You have to speak from kindness. Be calm in your approach. If you can tell their ego's activated for some reason, go back to like why you're having the conversation in the first place, you know? I've noticed whenever you're speaking to somebody and their ego becomes activated, it's really quick. It makes sense to go back to being like, okay, what I'm hearing is that this action I made is scaring you, and I want to make sure that you feel safe around me, so what can I do? You know, that's a much more like clear way of having a conversation, instead of saying something passive aggressive like, I'm just looking out for you. You know, that's not really helpful. So whenever you are like talking through confrontations with people and stuff like that, remember to always bring it back, because if their ego has become activated, they're not in control anymore. Their behaviors are unconscious. It's off of instincts that they learned whenever they were a child to protect themselves, you know? Like how kids are just kind of mean and they bully each other and stuff like that. That's all survival instinct stuff. It's like whenever you're growing up in a home and you know that you're supposed to be a certain way to be accepted by your parents when you're a child, anything that contradicts what it is that you need to be accepted by your family creates that wound, right? And then those are the moments of reaction and hurting and all those things, because it's like it's this internal thing that did keep you safe whenever you were a child. Your survival was essential as a child. So you did need to create a false self so you could be accepted by teachers, your peers, your parents, whatever. Whoever it was in your life that you needed acceptance from and was not easily getting it. Okay? So it's okay to forgive yourself for that and for that conditioning, but you also at this point have to work on not allowing it to completely run your life and run your relationships. If you're having conflict with a person that you are in a romantic relationship with, or a friendship or a roommate situation or something like that, remind yourself that they are not your parents. You know, try not to seek validation from them, because what does it do? How does it serve you to have validation from them? It makes you feel good, right? But that feel goodness is only temporary. It doesn't last a long time, because then you're going to want validation for something else. In order to have constant validation is to validate yourself and have it inside in your deep inner self, you know? Okay, so now that we have talked about that, I'm going to get into pulling some cards, and we're going to see what messages we need to know for the full moon in Aries, and maybe some rituals we can add in. Okay, one of these popped up for my weekly pick a card this week on Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram and you have one, go ahead and follow me, because I do this weekly pick a card every single week, and it just gives you messages and guidance for the week. But we have the voice here, so this is about speaking up for yourself. It's also about like kind of like speaking up for others too. Like I like to think of it as like the voice of a generation, you know what I mean? Because we are becoming so much like we want to protect others, not just ourselves, and we're starting to become more collective mind thinking. So make sure to remember that it's important to stand up for yourself and use your voice. I have perseverance here too, so make sure to push through whatever is happening for you. You know, you are strong. You've been through worse, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's that reminder that to keep on going. I think probably the most like out of control we've ever had in our lives was whenever we were children. Sorry if you can hear my dog. Sometimes he gets annoyed when he hears me talking. And he's like throwing a fit. Yep, here he comes. Hi. He probably thinks I'm talking on the phone or something. So yeah, making sure to like stay strong and stay dedicated to yourself, and make sure that you're doing what you can to take care of yourself and your mental health. We have breathe here, so make sure to take a breath. And we also have grounded. I kind of feel like these go together. So like make sure to take a breath and make sure that you're grounding yourself. One of the messages I had for the weekly pick a card as well was to go out in nature and explore nature, and make sure that you're seeing a lot of greenery. If you're having to work indoors, try to see if you can open the window in your office or in your bedroom or whatever it is that you work. If that's not an option either, during your breaks, go outside and walk around. Like anything you can do to ground yourself and feel more at peace and at one with everybody around you, you know, and with the collective, not even like people, but like just life in general. It's going to be important for you to like settle you down, to make you feel like whatever like emotions are coming up is not like the end of the world, you know, like it's a lot more like, it's okay, like there are things happening, I can't control them, that's fine, you know. Okay, these cards are from my basic astro deck. It is up for pre-order on my Etsy shop, so the link for that will be in my bio. But here we have Mercury, and it's literally right next to the voice, so embracing the way that you communicate. Mercury is going into Scorpio late, not during the full moon, it'll be later on in the month, but it's kind of an important reminder that like we're going to want to communicate like really deeply and like with our emotions and stuff like that. So that might be coming up for a lot of you guys, and maybe right now you might be struggling to figure out how to do that, because Mercury is currently in Libra. So there might be like this people-pleasing side of you that's like scared to share how you truly feel. But Spirit wants you to know that's important for you to feel free enough to do that. And if you are struggling like learning like how to communicate, if you're struggling with that, then try to learn new forms of communication. Try to look stuff up. There's stuff everywhere about like how to communicate in this situation, how to communicate with an overbearing mother, a narc father, a abusive whatever friend. You know, there's all kinds of stuff out there that like you can look up that will help you. We have Pluto here, so power and transformation. Take your power back, you know, and reacting to somebody who wants you to react to them is not in a place where you are in power and in control of yourself. We have opposition here, so struggling and difficulties. Okay, so you're gonna have to work through these things as well. These this opposition with you and other people. You're not going to be agreeing with people, and everybody's emotions are going to be high. So just remember to have patience, speak from love. We have breath right above it. So make sure that you're taking those deep breaths. Make sure that you are pushing through and doing what you need to do, and that you are standing up for yourself in the best way that you can. And if you don't know how, reach out. You know, reach out to somebody. Figure it out, you know. And then I have Leo here too. And this is a little bit more about like being independent, being like, I would say honestly, Leos struggle a little bit with like keeping, like they're a fire sign. Fire signs are extremely emotional. I mean, like, it's not in the same way that water signs are, because water signs are very emotional, like, but there's emotional depth to it. Fire signs are very quick to get like angry, and then they'll get over it really fast too. So a lot of times it can make them good friends, because sure, they got mad about something, but they'll get over it. But in this situation, I think what this is saying is to kind of like not allow yourself to like jump to conclusions like that, and also try not to be selfish either. Like it said in the notes, don't be a brat. That's what I think that Leo is saying here. Sorry, my Leo friends, I love you guys, but you guys know that you can make public scenes, and you guys can be bratty, and you guys can be a little bit about yourselves, you know, and that's okay. We all have our tendencies, right? So just remember to kind of like not allow that part of yourself to come out where it's just kind of like you're pissed, so you think it's okay to treat people however. That's not where we want to come from, okay, during this full moon. Okay, from the moon deck we have, when I let others shine, I shine too. So helping each other out, allowing the people around you to kind of like have good things happen to them, you know what I mean? Like, and not, like I was saying earlier, being bratty, you know? Not like sabotaging stuff. Like, take your power back. And being envious of others is not a way to have your power. It's just not going to work for you. So it's important for you to kind of like, to know that, what's the saying? You guys probably know it. I'm bad at sayings, but it's like, tides lift all ships. You guys probably know what I'm saying. My fiance makes fun of me because I'm not, like, I was born in the United States and I was raised here and everything, but like I still, like, I kind of like have trouble with basic sayings that are like American sayings. I don't know if it's like my family, because a lot of my family did, like, Puerto Rico's part of the United States as well, but they did like come over in their lifetime. So I feel like I learned that to kind of like struggle with American sayings. But yeah, it's something about like strong tides lift all ships or something like that. But you guys know what I mean. Like, it's like we all work together and we are all equal in a way. So whenever other people have good things happening to them and they're in your life, that means that good things are coming to you as well. It's happening around you. Blessings are everywhere. We have, I trust the change unfolding in my life. You can see she's kind of like touching the little flower there, you know? So this makes me think of like springtime, and I know we're going into fall, but I mean, same thing, like, you know, transitioning with the seasons and allowing the seasons to happen, and know that everything in your life is temporary. You know, everything happens in cycles, and it's important to honor those cycles and go with them, and, you know, love yourself and all of those things. My inner compass knows the way, so follow your intuition and allow yourself to be grounded, right? And then we have, I love myself completely and unconditionally. That's an important reminder as well, is to love ourselves without expectations. Your true self is who you really are. So think of it this way, like, every negative thought, I say this in a lot of my videos, but it's because it's so true, and I want as many people as possible to get this message. But every negative thought you have about yourself is not real. It's not true. It's conditioning someone else put onto you. I had somebody ask me, well, what if you have done things that make you a bad person? And I said, you did those things because of your conditioning. You were told that you were bad, so you engaged in behaviors that reaffirmed to you that you are bad. You were never bad. Nobody came out of the womb bad, you know? It's like things happen. And honestly, sometimes too, somebody could be a perfectly good parent, but something happened and they didn't witness it happen. And we know that our parents don't believe in therapy. A lot of our parents don't. It's scary to them. What they think therapy is you go in and somebody convinces you're crazy and gives you pills. They don't actually understand like what therapy is, or that a therapist can't even prescribe pills. They don't get it. So a lot of them did not seek therapy for us, who were obviously dealing with issues, you know, and they assumed as well that like as long as they continue to like do things they thought were right, that you would turn out okay. And sure, you did turn out okay, but there's a lot of internal wounds that were caused by things that probably didn't even have anything to do with them. But they weren't able to see the signs. They weren't able to give you help, and then you struggled with this internally, and the conditioning that other people put onto you plagued you, you know, and it was something that you really struggled with, and nobody ever saw it. Nobody ever cared, right? And now that you're an adult, guess who has to care about you? You. Number one, you have to care about yourself. So love yourself. Put time and effort into yourself. Self-love and self-care should be just as important as eating and drinking. In fact, that should be a part of it, you know? I'm starting this new thing, if you guys want to start it with me too, but whenever I'm cooking, I've started kind of like speaking to the meals a little bit while I'm cooking and saying like, let this meal nourish me, let this meal give me energy, let this meal drive me through the rest of my day so I can get all the things I need to get done, you know? And kind of like going through life that way. Like, please allow this situation that I'm in to bring me answers. And there can be magic and blessings everywhere, okay? So that is the message for you guys. We have some ritual ideas, right, about how to love ourselves a little bit more, how to communicate, how to speak up. Continue to just like keep going and let that drive get you going. And I would suggest for a lot of you guys to keep on meditating, and I will have journal prompts up on my blog for you to journal if you want to add it as a part of your rituals. Okay, I love you guys. You know, try to love yourselves as well. You're worthy of love, okay? And I will see you next time. Leave a comment to let me know if this resonated.